Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Integrated Self Podcast. If you've never seen me before, hi, I'm Arianna. I'm a holistic health practitioner, and I really help people heal mind, body, spirit. And I teach people how to heal themselves. I'm very, very on board with self-healing through spirituality, through faith, through connecting deeper and deeper to ourselves and doing this like energetic mindset, body, spirit alignment work. And one of the topics that I've had struggles with myself, and I feel like I recently started to really personalize it and create a healthier relationship with it, is exercise and movement. And so today I really want to talk about movement and exercise and kind of shift your perspective a little bit when it comes to these things, because I think a lot of us, I relate to this too. I never really knew how to move my body. I never really was taught to exercise. I didn't grow up with, family members and stuff. Like my siblings were in sports. I was a dancer and figure skater. And then when I kind of got into middle school, high school, that's when I kind of stopped the girly things like dance, ice skating, and I started wanting to do more of team sports. And I think that was my first experience, like learning how to like exercise, just because through dance and things, like you get your exercise just by dancing, and then ballet and certain things like that. But as I was turning away from that, the concept of like getting exercise in was really hard for me to grasp. Now my family works out, like my dad, my brothers, they get their movement and they go to the gym. But at this time in my life early on, I had no idea what that meant. Like I didn't know how to go into a gym and know what to do. I didn't understand working out at all. And so I think that especially today, in social media and in our society in general, especially in the United States, I feel like we're constantly seeing people in the gym. We're constantly, there's now this topic of fitness influencers and, bodybuilders and people like this. And I feel like when we go online and we see these things, it kind of makes us feel like that's the only way to work out. And so today we're going to be talking about movement as like a whole general topic, but I really want to start a very interesting conversation and provide new perspectives, because I didn't have a healthy relationship to my body or working out in the past. And so I've tried multiple different things. I'm going to share with you my struggles, gym anxiety, like all these things. I really want to talk about it, as well as like the social media side to things and how that can influence us, as well as kind of talking about how we can shift our perspective around this so that we can actually create a healthier relationship about this topic of working out or exercise or movement, and have a healthier relationship to our bodies, because we're going to understand way more about what's actually going on, a deeper importance for why this is important for you and your health, and just provide stories. And we're just going to get right into it. Okay. So as I was saying, in the earlier years of my life, I was dancing, I was figure skating. My brothers were in, I have an older brother who's 1 year older than me. We were almost Irish twins, but I actually came 3 weeks later than it would be for us to be Irish twins. Because I don't know actually how that works. I think an Irish twin would be a sibling being born before the other sibling is a year old, but there's actually a year and 3 weeks exactly between us. So we're almost Irish twins. A lot of times people like thought we were actual twins when we were littler. And then I have a younger brother that's 7 years younger than me. So I'm the middle child, I guess, because, well, I am, but I have an older brother that's like right. It seems like we're the same age. It feels like it. And then my younger brother, who now is 18. So my brothers were always like active, and they would, go to the gym, work out, whatever it was. And I just didn't really know as the girl what to do. I can kind of remember reflecting back now that my mom would go to the gym from like 6 to 7 a.m. and she would work out, but I never really like saw that. I didn't really know what that meant. She would just come back and be like, yeah, I got my workout in. And I was like, good for you. So I think my first experience with truly starting to look at my body, understand health, understand that movement is a part of health. And I remember being in high school, and I was on the volleyball team. So volleyball was my sport of choice. I freaking loved volleyball. Give me volleyball right now. Let's play. And I killed it. I jumped right in. I played for my school, but I also did a bunch of like summer camps and travel over the winter and all these things, which was really cool. I honestly didn't expect that, but I was traveling like all over the Northeast to play volleyball. Had so many tournaments, and I live in New York State, so we were traveling kind of like all over. But I remember like I think my dad signed me up for like the local YMCA. And I think when I was I was practicing getting my license, I would be like, oh, let me drive myself to the gym. And I would drive like one of my parents and myself, and then we would go in together. But I had no idea what to do in there, you guys. And it seemed like everyone else did. And at that age, like I think I was 16 years old. And as a 16-year-old girl, I felt so uncomfortable being in the gym exposed like that with like other men around, like, and especially I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea like about form, certain exercises, targeting certain muscles. All of this was so foreign to me that I just felt so out of place in the gym. And then you would see all the other older, like mid 20s girls that looked awesome and, had their cute outfits on and were super intimidating. And no one talks to each other in the gym. I mean, I feel like people might walk up to each other and say, hey, what's up? But like, I felt like everyone had their earphones in, they knew what they were doing, and I'm just walking in this group of like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I was just clearly like, if you can imagine you just being at the gym, I would be that girl that's just like aimlessly walking around looking like she has no idea where she is. Like, I honestly had no idea what I was doing. And I remember I went with my older brother once, and he's like, I'll show you, like, just follow me, do what I do. And this was so embarrassing, you guys. He was doing sorry, there's like a fuzz. If you're watching, I just kind of like my hand went just like all over the camera. My brother, we were standing in the mirror, like where the benches are and all the dumbbells. And he asked me, he's like, all right, we're going to do just like bicep curls. I'll show you how to do it. And he goes, grab some weight. And for some reason, the lowest weight that I could find at this gym was 10 pounds. And I was probably maybe 100, 115 pounds in high school. I don't even remember at this point, but I couldn't even curl a 10 because I just had no muscle on my arms. It was just skin and bones. And so when I went to do the movement, the exercise, I couldn't do it. And I'm like, is there like smaller weights? Are there fives? Is there 2.5s? Like, I just need to be able to do this actual exercise. And my brother just starts laughing at me. And he's like, you seriously can't curl a 10? And like, obviously it's fine, right? Like, it's not a big deal. But at the same time, back then in this moment on this day, it was so embarrassing for me because it made me feel like, okay, I'm trying, right? I'm showing up for myself and I'm trying, but I just don't know what I'm doing. And so I understand that feeling of wanting to do better for yourself and wanting to take care of yourself and start something new that you don't really know how to do it or what to do, and feeling like doing that, like knowing, okay, I'm showing up for myself, I'm proud of myself, I'm doing it, I will figure it out, whatever. But then having all these other people where you're constantly worrying about, okay, if I even like, once I knew how to work out, I would feel weird putting away weights that I grabbed that were too heavy, right? Like that awkward thing where you have your bench, you pick up 20s or something, and then you go to do your exercise and they're too heavy. And you have to go back, put them back, and pick up something else that's lighter for you to do the exercise. And I just thought that was so embarrassing to do. Like, I was so in my head about all of this. I totally, completely relate to gym anxiety and that feeling. But essentially, I think I honestly kind of just stick to, at this point in my life in high school, I just kind of stick to like legs, like body weight stuff. So I would go to the gym, but I would use bands, or I would watch videos as I was at the gym and just watch people teach me how to do band exercises or squats or push-ups. Like, I would really just go back to the basics. I would do abs, cardio. So there's other things in the gym that you can do. And this is kind of my hack that I have is, and this sounds creepy, I promise I don't mean it to be creepy, but I realized that I just had a lot to learn in the gym. And so I would, again, like I said, I'd go there and I'd grab a mat and I would just like do push-ups, curls, crunches, and all these like little movements that I knew already how to do. And then while I was in between sets, I would kind of just like take a gander around the gym and see what people were doing and kind of just keep a mental note of like, okay, that girl's holding weights and she's curling them up like this. Okay, that's for the biceps. Got it. Like I would use other people to learn from. And it's not creepy. Like don't stare at people the whole time, but just kind of like take a look around. Or if you don't know how to use the machines, again, like the machines are so intimidating if you don't know how to like move them and where to sit and how exactly to use it. I would kind of like watch other people use the machines. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, that's how I would just, by watching someone else, observing someone else do it, I would just get on and try it myself. And like, it's just trial and error and observation, I think is what I really leaned on at that time. And then I would come home and I would just kind of like look up on Instagram, some kind of fitness coach that I trusted, and I would just watch what they had, here they post like a video like arm day, and I'm like, okay, like let me just save this post and then go back to it when I'm actually at the gym tomorrow. So that's kind of how I got myself out of that. And then the more and more that I kind of just honestly said like fuck it and just tried things, like no one's going to come up to you at the gym. Honestly, I don't want to say no one because I'm sure this happens, but like no one's going to come up to you at the gym and like shame you. If anything, people might come up to you and like help you, right? So I remember one time I was using the actual squat rack with the big bar. I would put it on my back, I would be squatting with the bar. And I think I was leaning forward or my form wasn't right. And I think like a man in his like 30s came over because he saw me. And he came over and immediately my heart starts racing. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, is he going to like shame me? What's happening right now? And he would just be like, I think he said like, oh, do it again and keep your head up or something. My neck was in the right place or whatever. And he helped me and he was coaching me and he was like actually there to support me. And it just felt like, wow, I can actually trust these people. Like maybe I was wrong that all these people are in their egos and judging everybody else. Like these are just regular, nice people that are just working out, So that was a good experience for me because it made me feel like people look out for you at the gym. It made me feel more safe, and that even I had more confidence to just go up to people and ask questions. And then I started learning the gym etiquette of like, obviously don't walk up to someone when they're in the middle of their set or in the middle of their workout and stuff, which I've always been pretty considerate. So I don't think I ever did that. But I kind of just it's trial and error. And that's how my experience was in high school. And then when I went to college, I honestly didn't get that much movement in besides walking all the way across campus because for some reason my dorm room was on the opposite side of like all the science buildings. So every single day we walked like a mile and back to our classes. So I was getting movement in, but I wasn't like prioritizing and setting aside time to do that. Especially just when you get to college, everything's new to you. You're learning where everything is. You're trying to make friends. There's so much that you're trying to navigate all by yourself. And so my first year of college, I wasn't super focused on movement, but I actually gained a lot of weight. So I think I shared this story in a couple episodes ago about I was going through a lot of emotional things my freshman year, and I really turned to food. And especially since I lived on campus, the dining halls were open like all the time. And so instead of just going to college and carrying along like my healthy, balanced habits, I just kind of saw everything as a buffet. And I was like, I'm going to eat everything. I'm going to stuff my face. And, I honestly wasn't thinking that because it was all subconscious. It was all emotional and stress, and subconsciously I was using food to make myself feel better. And so at the end of my freshman year, that whole year, I ended up gaining about 45 pounds. I don't want to give like my scale measurements on this podcast episode, but it was pretty close to that. And it got to the point where it was me gaining the weight over the course of the year, I didn't really notice it was happening. Like I did, obviously, when I was looking in the mirror, but as it was happening, it was a gradual thing. And so it wasn't until I think I went home for the summer or I went home for some kind of break we had in the spring. And like I noticed that my family was like commenting on it, not in like a rude way, but more so of like, what's going on with you kind of thing. And it made me feel like, oh my gosh, I've totally lost control of myself. But also when I realized that other people were noticing it, I got so much in my head about it, and I realized I was looking in the mirror. I felt so inflamed. I felt like inflamed and bloated and all these things. I just wasn't really prioritizing movement my freshman year of college. And I was going through a bunch of other things, which is kind of how all of this happened. So at the end of my freshman year is when I was really like, oh no, this is, we're going to have to like really get down to what's going on with you mentally, emotionally, but also physically. And I started, when I went into my sophomore year, I started to really, have more awareness when it came to me eating, when it came to, how I felt and my emotions and my stress and all of that stuff. I started really like grabbing a hold of these things. And thankfully, my roommates were all very active. I had the best group of girlfriends, and they were so supportive. And it wasn't really a conversation that ever happened, but I kind of just started asking if I could go with them to work out because they were all like high school and college athletes. They were like they just knew more about like the gym and how to create a workout and what to do when you're there and how long to stay. And okay, here's how you finish. Let's finish with a challenge or whatever it was. I just had no idea what I was doing and I needed guidance. So I just started like committing myself and making plans with them and kept that promise to myself. So I learned a lot about the gym through them, and also like just they motivated me. Like this was probably the time where I felt the weakest in the gym, and I felt like these girls were not judging me. They were there to support me, and they just wanted a friend, a buddy to work out with. So that's another thing I recommend you guys, if you have goals of like going to the gym, if there's a way that you can go with somebody and hold yourselves accountable, that could also be really beneficial, because I loved it. I loved talking in between sets about like what's going on and, laughing. And I don't know, I just had the best time in the gym with my friends, and it kind of just made the workout go by faster because I wasn't out there alone, like in my own thoughts in between things. Like I just had someone that I was focusing or talking to. So definitely have a buddy. And my movement has changed so much because that was my sophomore year. I kind of went maybe a couple times a week, didn't really commit myself to a routine of any kind. And then my junior and senior years, we moved off campus into a house, and then we got like memberships to the gym in the town of our college town. So we could drive ourselves there. Like we could go any time of day. It was really, really nice. And again, I moved in with these three girls, and we would go together all the time to the gym, and we would sign up for like spin classes, bar, yoga, Pilates, and it was so much fun because there was more of a variety. So when I found myself in junior and senior years of college, at this point I understand more about how to lift, form exercises, how to target certain muscle groups, but I also like knew how to find a balance. And then I also noticed the difference in my body because the past year I had found more balance in my movement, but I also really started eating in balance as well. I think the things that I was eating that first year that made me gain so much weight was like a lot of sugar, and a lot of carbs. And I'm a holistic health practitioner. Carbs are good, but it's almost like I wasn't eating any fruits or vegetables. It was just all this like inflammatory, bloated carbohydrate food. And that's why I felt so inflamed. So at this point, my junior and senior years of college, I would go to the gym by myself. I felt super confident in the gym. I would ask guys to come up and help me, like if I couldn't lift a plate off the ground or whatever it was. I just felt more in control and more empowered in the gym. And I honestly think this happens gradually. Like, obviously, you can't expect yourself to walk into a gym for the first time and know where everything is and know like how to curate a workout and know what you're doing. And I just totally relate to that feeling, but you will grow out of that as you learn, right? Just like anything else. You don't know how to swing a bat until you do, right? So I just think it's very important to be patient with yourself, and also know that the more that you can just be like, you know what? It doesn't matter what these people think about me in the gym because I don't know them. And also another quote that I want to leave you with is like, um, I think it says like the people above you aren't going to shit on you. It's actually the people below you. So we all think that these these people that are more successful or have more time in the gym or know what they're doing, right? Like we think that people above us are going to be the ones saying stuff to us, but it's really the people below you that are judging you from beneath you. So that's another thing, is that if anyone does have something to say, that says a lot more about them than you, right? At this point in my junior and senior year, I actually I not only reversed all the weight that I had gained, but I also started putting on a lot of muscle. So it was really, really cool to see myself in the gym by myself and lifting heavy weight. I would do like barbell deadlifts. I would do um, chest press, which is like crazy. Like I never ever thought that I would ever be doing these things, but it felt so empowering. And I really want to remind you guys again that there is a variety of movement out there. So if you follow a lot of fitness influencers and you think that the only movement that exists is going to the gym and lifting weights, that's not for everybody, right? Just like holistic medicine isn't for everybody, just like a certain sport isn't for everybody. I felt in the beginning of my journey that like that was how you work out. That's where you get your exercises, in the gym, by lifting weight. But in reality, I was confusing exercise with movement. And so I actually started to prioritize movement in general over exercise and creating a variety or a balance in my schedule. Because first off, we need to have rest days. First thing is we need to have rest days, because if you're constantly putting so much stress on your body through working out every single day, your body needs a day to really like repair and detox, right? And rest and heal. So I think it's very, very important to put rest days in. Throughout. In a rest day, you could still move your body, like going for a walk or something. But I do think that there should be a balance in your schedule, but also you could create a variety of movement, right? So this whole podcast, I really want to get into the fact that a lot of us use the word exercise as we think that that's scary. We think that we picture ourselves sweating and in pain and it's miserable. But in reality, you guys, I really think that creating a variety of movement is so, so fun, because I would get bored going to the gym Monday through Friday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever my routine was. I felt so bored. And even obviously every day I was doing different workouts or targeting different muscle groups, but I still felt so bored in the gym. And especially being a dancer, like someone who was a dancer and a figure skater, and then I played volleyball, I just felt like bored, and I didn't feel motivated to get myself into the gym on the days that I didn't want to go. And so creating a variety of movement, okay? So think about other ways you can move your body. So we know walking, you could go for a walk outside. You don't have to go to the gym, right? I do yoga and Pilates. So those are two separate things. But you can do one and then the other, or you can do a combination of both, right? It's such a different feeling than strength training in the gym and lifting weight, because that feels more like a heavy, like you're lifting a heavy weight, right? And you're doing multiple reps. But when you do yoga or Pilates, it's more of a consistent movement of your body. So it's more of a flow, because you're not just like standing in one place and putting so much stress on your joints by lifting weight. You're actually on a mat and you are, like working on your spine health and your breath work, right? And so it's such a different feeling than strength training. And I honestly fell in love with yoga and Pilates. I didn't at first, actually, because quick story time, my first time that I ever did yoga, I went to the local Y with my mom, and it was hot yoga, which Chagirl didn't tell me. I don't know why. Mom, if you're listening, why didn't you tell me this? I really feel like I didn't know that going in. And then I ended up passing out twice. So after that experience, this was in high school too, but after that experience I told myself yoga's not for me, but in reality, hot yoga's not for me. And it might be for me now because I'm 25, but back then it was not. So I love yoga now. And one thing about like yoga, Pilates, these kinds of things is that there's so many free videos on YouTube. So you could just do it from home. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to pay for a membership. You can just do it in your own home. And it's so freaking awesome. I'm going to shout out my favorite person that I do, or I do her workouts. Her name is on YouTube, you can type in Move with Nicole. And I think she's from New Zealand or Australia. I don't really remember, but she is so amazing. She puts up different kinds of videos for yoga and Pilates, bar classes, and everything on YouTube. And then she also puts like beginner, intermediate, advanced. She has something for everybody. So whether you're just beginning or you're intermediate and you want to start sprinkling these things in instead of going to the gym every single day, highly, highly recommend. And I think that sometimes when we get bored and not motivated when it comes to going to the gym, it's actually just maybe diverting our energy towards something that is new and exciting, right? Or just provides a variety. So my current workout routine that I think has been really balanced for me, and created so much also a variety is I do Monday, Monday I do yoga. So I start off the week with like a yoga flow. Tuesday, I go to the gym and I just do upper body. So I do arms, shoulders, chest, and back. And then Wednesdays, I do Pilates at home. Thursdays, I'll go to the gym and do legs or lower body. And then Friday is just my cardio and abs. So I'll go to the gym, or maybe I'll go for a walk like outside and then I'll do abs at my house, or I'll just do like an incline walk for 30 minutes and then some ab work. But I think that really provides a lot of variety. And I kind of wake up every day looking forward to doing something new. And feel free to copy my routine because I'm here to help everybody. But so far, I really, really like it. And I also know that when I prioritize my mind, body, soul, or I prioritize movement or meditation or whatever it may be, I feel so much more like myself. I feel recharged. I feel like I took care of myself. Like even psychologically, knowing that you went to the gym or knowing that you did something for you, it makes you feel better, makes you feel more balanced. And I feel like I also just show up better. Like I show up better in my coaching sessions. I show up better in my relationships. I show up better in my business. I show up better in my studies because I'm still getting my doctorate and PhD. But that's just kind of my 2 cents on that's kind of just my story about my movement and my experience with it and my variety and all the things. But I really want to talk about social media because I feel like we all follow these fitness influencers and I have my favorite ones too. Okay. Like, don't think that I'm bringing this up to shame this whole group of people because that's not me at all. I actually follow a couple that really prioritize mental health as well. And they're very honest and real about it. But I think that if you're someone that's just scrolling on social media and you're going online and you're seeing these fitness influencers all the time, it can make you feel like you have to be in the gym all the time. And we're not understanding, you guys, that these fitness influencers, their job is to work out. Right. So you can't compare your life of someone that has a 9 to 5, has a family, has kids, or is in a relationship, maybe is in school, has all these other things going on with their life, and wants to work out versus someone whose job is a fitness influencer and they hang out in the gym for 2 hours a day and they're filming content and that's what they do, and you see it and it looks like they're there all day and that they prioritize and they're super healthy and all these things, but in reality that's their job. So of course their page is going to be all movement. It's going to be, their stories are going to be at the gym, and like it can make us feel like, why aren't I doing that? But in reality that's their job. You don't have that job. So I really think that even doing like a 20-minute walk, right? Like there's those walking pads out now. I think you can get them on Amazon, and you can literally walk while you're watching TV. You can have one in your home, right? So like there's so many ideas. There's so many different things that you can do, but I super, super am in support of creating a variety and not being so hard on ourselves. Like if you want to do movement and you want to start taking care of your physical body, you don't have to go to the gym for an hour and a half. Like I remember when I first met my boyfriend, he would go to the gym for like 2 hours. And that's because he was a college athlete as well. So that was something that his body was so used to. But when we would go together, I would finish in like 50 minutes. And then this man still had like a whole half of a workout to do. So Don't compare yourself to men. Don't compare yourself to anybody because you don't know what their goals are. Like another woman could be lifting and having a certain schedule because her goal is to build muscle and be more muscular. When in reality, maybe your goal is to be more toned or to lose fat or something like that. So your goals and the way that you work out is going to look so different than them. Okay. And this is just like a very general thing to say. I'm not a fitness influencer. Okay. Or like a fitness coach. Okay. Um, so their job is to work out. And if you are looking at these people and thinking that you have to be in the gym for 1 to 2 hours a day, um, and like sweating and shaking and like that doesn't have to be you. There's so many options out there. You can get your movement in, you can feel good in your body, right? And through your own ways. You don't have to have a schedule or routine that looks like anybody else's as long as you are prioritizing your health and wellness and you are doing it for yourself, right? Because if your intentions are in the wrong place, I think that it makes the process itself harder. And we actually realize that we're against ourselves throughout the process instead of like supporting and loving ourselves through the process. One thing that I want to bring up right now is that I feel like we live in a society where people are very focused on the way they look, right? Especially because of social media. And I think that we are constantly being told if you don't like the way you look, change it, right? Or if you don't, instead of like honoring our feelings and validating the fact that we don't like our hip dips or we feel like our thighs look this or like whatever it is, instead of working through those insecurities and healing within, it's almost like our society has so many solutions for you to just change it, right? Like, oh, you don't want to have wrinkles, just add Botox. Like there's always, and I'm not against any of these things. I'm not proving a point here. I'm just saying that we're so appearance focused that it can make us have the intention when we walk into the gym or when we go to do our movement that we're doing it for our appearance, right? And this is where I created an unhealthy relationship with movement because that was my intention. And I know it's probably a lot of other people's. But for me, I felt like I had to work out, especially that first time that I was in the gym at college because I gained weight. My intention that time was to change the way my body looked. And I think that when you have the intention to change your appearance and you're going into the gym already in this negative mindset of I had a couple drinks last night or I ate crap last night and so I have to reverse that today and it's about my appearance and it's about my insecurities and it's about losing and becoming thin and skinny, like that I just felt like it started to create an unhealthy relationship with working out for me. And I realized that you can honestly allow that to make you feel addicted to working out because once you start working out and you see that it is changing your body, right, which is good, it's almost like some people can become addicted to that and then you start to carry that addiction over into like your foods. So for me, when you work out, you guys, and you're burning more calories and you're expecting more of your body, right? Like you're putting more weight on your body, more stress on your body, your heart rate's going up, you're sweating, right? Like all these things, your body needs more food so that it can, because it just burned all these calories and it needs to be like refueled, right, and nourished. And so I created this unhealthy relationship with like unintentionally, of course, where I was so focused on working out for my appearance that I carried that over into my food. And so I created like such an imbalanced like routine where I wasn't giving myself the carbs and the calories in return from burning 700 calories at the gym by weightlifting that day, that I would come home and just have like one smoothie and then I would have dinner later. But like I just noticed I wasn't fueling my body enough. And I was trying to like do so much in the gym. And then when it came to my eating, I was eating like a little rabbit. And that's not, especially when you're working out like that in the gym with strength training and all of that, burning that many calories, it's like my body was like begging me for more food. But since I had already known that I already ate too much food the year prior, it made me feel like, oh, well, that's unhealthy. Like it just created so much confusion in my brain. And what I think is so, so important in the way that we can shift our perspective is by having a different intention, right? Like if you feel like the intention of changing your body when you go to do your movement isn't healthy for you and it's not motivating, and you actually are kind of going in already kind of like hating yourself, because that's how I felt. I felt like when I would be working out or going to do my movement, I would already be thinking about the insecurities and the changes that I wanted to make to my body by doing the movement. Um, but I actually ended up switching my perspective and my intention for movement. And that's when I actually noticed more progress in the way that I felt, my mental health, and all the things. Because when you shift your intention away from your appearance, it's almost like you're no longer like, obviously you can see it in the mirror and stuff like that, but you're no longer like prioritizing that and putting all your eggs in that basket. That it's almost like you notice that your appearance is changing more because you're not so hyper fixated on it. So instead of working out or doing movement for my appearance, I shifted my focus and my intention to work out for my mental health. Because I know that when I work out or I do yoga or Pilates or I go for a walk outside, I feel more like myself. I feel less stressed. I feel more confident. I feel like energetically like recalibrated and like so proud of myself that I just took care of myself. I know that my body thanks me for showing up. And so I stopped caring about what happened to my body by doing the movement. And I started caring more and noticing and putting more awareness on how I felt. Like walking out of the gym, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just feel so good right now. Like those post-workout endorphins. Like I just remember feeling so good, and it clears up my mental health. Like I feel like I could go into the gym worried about something or stressed, and like after bumping my music and doing something from just myself, I leave feeling so accomplished. I feel confident. I feel like recalibrated. I just feel good, especially like when you sweat it out, right? There's so many amazing things that working out or movement does. But I really encourage you guys to switch your intention away from doing that for your appearance, right? Because essentially, if you're doing it for your appearance, that could be you doing it for you. But a lot of times people, it's so easy once you're doing it for your appearance that you do it for other people. Oh, I'm working out for my boyfriend. I'm working out so that I have a nice booty for him, right? But in reality, it should be for you. And so I think that the more that, it's so weird like how this happened, but the less I focused on my appearance, the more I started noticing that it was changing because I wasn't so focused on it, because I didn't care that much, right? And what I really started valuing was my mental health, the way that I felt, the way that movement makes me feel about myself, like just inside my body, like energetically. And so if you can shift away from that and start working out for your mental health, start working out to have balance, start working out to allow yourself to get uncomfortable and kind of have some time in your day where you experience being uncomfortable, right? Because I know a lot of us, especially if you follow me online and you follow this podcast, I talk a lot about evolution and self-help and self-improvement and evolving, right? And evolving into the next best version of you holistically. And I feel like when we're doing that mindset work and we are becoming our next best self, there are so many moments where you would feel uncomfortable, right? Like when you get outside your comfort zone and you work on embodying that version of you out in your real life, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? Or when you are doing a meditation and you're feeling into, your fears, that's uncomfortable. So I think that when I look at going to the gym or doing movement, right, even Pilates and yoga, depending on what level you do, it is pretty challenging. There is a slow burn that builds up over the course of 45 minutes, and it's really challenging to do. And so there, throughout your workout, your movement, even if you're doing an uphill walk on the treadmill, right, there gets to be a point where you're uncomfortable and you want to hit that reduce speed button. But I look at those moments now, I look at anything that makes me uncomfortable in a good way, right? If it makes me uncomfortable in a bad way, that's a sign. That's a red flag. But uncomfortability and growth is so important to learn to be comfortable in, right? So when you feel uncomfortable in the gym, when you're about to increase your weight for the first time and you don't know how many reps you're going to be able to do and you're pushing yourself, that's uncomfortable, right? But you're choosing to allow yourself to get comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that carries out into every other area of your life, right? So another way that you could get uncomfortable is by learning to communicate yourself and be vulnerable in your relationships. That's going to be uncomfortable if you're not used to expressing yourself and being vulnerable. But once you do it and you spend time in that feeling of uncomfortability, you start to learn like, oh, I can get comfortable outside my comfort zone, right? Or the more that I expose myself and I challenge myself or I push myself a little bit further, I mentally experience like my limits, right? And you can push past those limits mentally. So there's so many other benefits to working out. And I'm about to get into the physical ones too in a second, but emotionally, mentally, working out or having a movement, and that's why I like to say movement more than working out or exercise, because I think when we hear working out or exercise, our brains are like, nope, not fun, sounds like stressful and crazy, but movement, right? So I feel like movement is a better term because movement is you moving your body, right? You don't have to be the person that wants to gain muscle and lift weight, right? Very important to kind of, I feel like I boxed myself in a lot in college because, in the beginning years, because I felt like that was the only option available to me. But in reality, there's so many things on the internet. There's so many, like, you could dance, right? Like if working out or like sweating, like lifting weights is boring to you and there's nothing there that you truly could see yourself doing, like maybe dance classes or YouTube that. Martial arts, there's boxing, right? Even boxing classes. I actually just saw a video on my TikTok of that. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it looks like a black hexagon and you put it on your wall and it has like all these buttons on it and they light up and you punch them. And it's like a at-home boxing class. It looks so cool. I wonder how much that thing is though. But there's so many options out there for you guys. There's got to be something out there that you are going to love and you maybe just haven't found it yet. But I truly believe that finding a movement routine or like a specific kind of movement that really makes you feel good and excited to do, I think that's where it starts to click, where you're like, I'm excited to show up for myself. This is going to be fun. This time a set, this 45 minutes or this hour in my day is for me. And I know afterwards I'm going to feel so much better. Like that's how I look at it now. Like my mindset has shifted so much because I'm not going into the gym anymore thinking like, okay, like pulling up my shirt in the mirror and looking at my abs and being like, okay, like got to do more ab work because I don't like the way my stomach looks and my booty's flat and that's not okay. Like I'm not viewing myself that way anymore. And I have such a healthier relationship finally with movement and with food. And I truly believe that balance is key, you guys. So balancing how much movement you're getting in, right? Like just how I described my schedule, it's a balance because Mondays, we kind of start off the week a little soft, right? With a little yoga flow. And then the next day, Tuesday, is more of a lifting weight in the gym for upper body, right? And that's because I do enjoy strength training, but I can't do it 5 days a week. And I also love yoga and Pilates. So I created a schedule for myself that was very had a lot of variety, and it allows me to kind of take breaks from strength training and allow my body to stretch and work on my spine health and my breathing and matching the breath to the movement. Like it's so good, you guys. So the last thing that I want to talk about, you guys, today is learning more about what movement does for your physical body, because again, I think that so many of us are focused on, like, we attach movement or exercise to look the way we look, right? And I think our society has kind of just programmed us to do that. But if you can shift away from that, it actually is really empowering. You're actually empowered when you're going to do movement and prioritizing that for yourself, because you actually learn to understand what you're doing biologically. And I feel like if you don't know what you're doing biologically, it's so easy to attach like your intention to something else, like your appearance or losing weight, or if you're single, oh, I'm working out because I need to have the best body ever for like my next partner or whatever. But even I think this is what I really am passionate about, is educating my clients on exactly what they're doing to their bodies and their minds so that they understand what they're changing and what's going on internally. And once you know what that is, it kind of motivates you and you understand like how you're impacting yourself. And it kind of creates an extra layer of motivation because maybe you didn't know that exercise improves your immunity, right? And so now you know that, you're like, oh, let me go for a walk today. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm a science gal. But so there's obviously so many benefits to working out or getting movement, exercising, and moving your body, right? So what happens is, if you can imagine somebody that doesn't get movement in, right? Like you wake up, you walk to your car, you walk to your office, you sit down for 8 hours a day, you walk to your car, you go home, and then you sit on the couch, right? That's kind of a pretty much a sedentary lifestyle. And so when you work out, you think about your lymphatic system. Okay. This is very important. So your lymphatic system is basically, think about it like the sewage system or the drainage system of your body. Okay. So your lymphatic system is actually what carries all of that fluid around your body to like nutrients, it carries nutrients and proteins to your cells and your tissues. And so think about when you're getting your movement in, you're allowing that lymphatic system, that lymph, that fluid that's normally just sitting in your tissues to actually get going. Get going. Start delivering nutrients, proteins, start detoxing, right? So obviously we know when we get movement and we start getting our heart rate up, not only are we exercising the heart, but we're oxygenating the body. We're getting more deep breaths and we're practicing using our lungs. We're oxygenating the brain, right? And so the lymphatic system it keeps the fluids in your body in balance, and it carries that lymph or that drainage system all the way through your body. Exercise is such a great way to get that fluid moving, because any extra waste or fluid in your body, it starts to drain itself. Obviously, we know that when we work out, we sweat, right? And that's another way that your body's detoxing. So through sweat and working out or getting your movement in, you're detoxing your body, right? You're oxygenating the brain, you're exercising the heart, you're increasing your immunity, you're getting uncomfortable, you're working on your mentality, your mindset. Obviously, it can help with like posture and spine health. And I honestly believe that if anyone does any kind of movement at all and wants to really focus on one thing, it would be core, because your core is what kind of keeps your body from not falling over, right? Your core, if you can have a very solid core, you can alleviate a lot of back problems. And you'll have more of a better posture. Like I remember when I was a kid, I was always hunched over. And now that I do Pilates and yoga, especially, I feel like Pilates and yoga is what really has helped me with this, is keeping my shoulders back and my head high and having a good spine health. Obviously, strengthening your muscles, which support your frame, allow you to pick up more weight, allow your body to endure more weight. But in reality, you guys, there's so much that exercise does for everybody. If you're not one that has a goal to like gain muscle and all these things, and you can actually reduce inflammation, increase immunity, increase your respirations and your lung health, your heart health, your brain health, right? Getting that body to detox, right, through your breath. So through your breathing, through your skin, all of that junk maybe in your body, it comes out through your skin. So you're detoxing, you're building your immunity, you're getting rid of inflammation. It's so, so healthy for you guys. And I think that the more that we know these things, right? Like I think that we all kind of do, but it's a healthy reminder because that motivates me, right? So when I'm on the mat doing yoga, I think about that. I'm like, I'm so grateful that I showed up today. I'm so grateful that I'm doing this for myself because I know the benefits, not only like physically and mentally, but biologically, what I'm doing for myself. And I think that that's something to point out as well, because again, you can shift your intention. I want to work out to reduce inflammation, instead of I want to work out and you're already focusing on something you don't like about yourself. You're creating separation in yourself, right? Instead of being whole and being like, we're doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for health, to create balance, to create a healthy relationship to exercise and to our bodies. So I want to leave you guys with this one topic. I hope that I was successful at shifting your perspective today regarding movement, encouraging you guys to explore types of movement, kind of shifting your intention of why you're doing your movement and creating a healthy relationship with movement and your body, and your mindset as well. But I wanted to leave you with this, and this has been a game changer for me. It sounds silly, but it's not. Is taking the time, whether it's 5 seconds or 30 seconds at the end of my workout, at the gym, whether I'm on the mat doing yoga or Pilates, whatever it is, even if I go for a walk, right? I always take time either while I'm doing it or afterwards to place my hand on my heart. So do that with me now. Place your hand on your heart and literally say, thank you for showing up. I'm so proud of you for showing up today. Have that moment with yourself, because you didn't have to do your movement today. You didn't have to show up for yourself, but you freaking did. And I bet you feel so much better afterwards, less stressed, more motivated, more energized, feeling just reset and relaxed, but feeling accomplished, feeling successful, right? Like all these feelings come. And I think that one of the things that this has really changed me. It has changed my relationship with myself and my commitment to myself, because doing that is so beautiful. And I think that honestly, I've done it a couple of times and really gotten emotional, because that day that I'm thanking myself, I really didn't want to show up. And I knew that afterwards, I was so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I didn't bail on myself. And I think this is another way that we can build trust within ourselves, right? Like if you feel like you don't trust yourself and you're making promises to yourself where you're like, Monday, we're starting our movement or whatever it is, and you can't really commit to yourself, it can kind of feel like you don't trust yourself. And I think the more that you follow through with the commitments that you're making for you, right? Because committing to your movement, that's ultimately going to benefit you in all the ways that we freaking talked about today. So I truly believe that if you can sit there and just give yourself a second and just think and be grateful that you showed up today, be grateful that you carved this time out of your schedule to pay attention to yourself and recharge and fill up your own cup. I think that showing yourself that self-love in that moment is so beautiful and it's so healing. So I highly encourage you guys to just kind of take a second at the end of your movement, when you're rounding the corner to your house after your walk, just be like, I'm so proud of you that you did that. Like, nice freaking job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hype yourself up, reparent yourself, right? This is called reparenting, when we kind of assume a role of a parent for ourselves, right? And we're like, nice job. I'm so proud of you. Like, you did freaking awesome today. I'm so glad you committed to yourself, right? All these things. It's so beautiful. So I hope that this wasn't too much and too all over the place. I like to share a lot of my personal experience and what I learned, what I went through with certain things, and then provide like the healing or the perspective shift and the next steps for you guys. So I just wanted this podcast to be a safe place for not only me to share my stories, but also for you guys to come and feel like you're not judged, and that, anything, I'm just here to hold space for you. And I feel like when we see these creators online, not that I'm saying I'm a big creator in any way, but I feel like when we see these creators online and we want to engage with them, we kind of are intimidated, or we feel like, oh, like, they have X amount of followers, or she's not going to see my message, or is this question too silly? Like, no, it's not. And I would never judge you. I will always answer your questions. Like, I'm always here for you guys. And I'm sure as the episodes go on, plus the ones that are already out, you guys can tell that like I've really been through a lot. And I try and share my personal experiences, not only to relate to you guys, but to also, I think that just by me sharing more about myself, it's healing as well. Like, I've healed a lot of these things already, but by speaking on them for the first time, honestly, on the internet to a bunch of people, it's healing. It's healing in a really interesting way. And so yeah, just know that you're always safe and accepted and not judged here. And this is a beautiful place for you guys to come and learn and share your stories. So before actually we end this episode, I want to let you guys know that Inner Guidance Academy is launching next Wednesday. So by the next episode it comes out, it will already be out and available for you guys to join. This is my 6-week program to get you guys in alignment and get you guys tapped into the universe so you can see that the universe is actually there, right? Because I feel like when the universe, we're not tapped in and we're not in alignment, it feels like the universe is like absent. And then when we find alignment and we're really tapped in and in tune with ourselves and with the universe, you start to actually see the magic, the synchronicity, the coincidences happening around you. And so we're talking about mindset. We're going to be releasing any limiting beliefs that are blocking you and creating resistance from becoming your next best self. We're going to be talking and plugging you into your inner guidance system, so your intuition, connecting you to your higher self. And we're also going to be talking all things like alignment and manifestation and energetic protection, and also like huge conversations on surrendering and trust, like how to surrender to the universe, how to trust the universe, like truly trust, and what that looks like and how that feels and all those things. So I wanted to put together more of a spiritual, well, it's more of a holistic program because it is mind, body, spirit. And the body part, you probably are wondering, the body part is the regulation that you're going to be getting from the meditations. So when you meditate and you're able to still the mind, you also still the body, and you send that nervous system into its relax, repair, and replenish mode. So you learn to kind of regulate your nervous system. And this helps you feel safe in your environment, feel safe in yourself, reduce anxiety, reduce fear, reduce stress. And so that's kind of the body aspect. And then obviously we're doing mindset and a lot of spiritual work as well. So it's 6 weeks. It's kind of like my Kickstart beginner program. And then I plan on launching a bunch of other programs in the future. I literally have a Google Docs of all my ideas for like master classes and challenges and all these things. But I want to just put out like a very simple, easy to follow program to just have people join and start making progress and start seeing the synchronicity and the results in your life. Because I feel like if you're on your spiritual journey, it can kind of be confusing unless you join a program, because you're just doing these things on yourself and kind of just going about your day and being like, oh, okay, like let me deal with that feeling or let me do this. But I wanted to create a step-by-step plan for people to really like solidify in these skills and integrate them and feel comfortable and feel like you're getting results instead of like willy-nilly, floating along your spiritual journey. But this is for those that really want to see the progress, that really want to commit to themselves and start seeing and embodying your next best self. So that's launching on Wednesday. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more information. And I literally cannot wait, you guys. This is going to be so freaking awesome. So next Thursday, I will see you back here at the Integrated Self Pod. And I think that's it. Have a great week, you guys.